Erin Bowman from the content team, and I'm joined here this morning by Jason Berryhill from Envisible, and we're here to talk about digital supply chains of the future. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us in the studio, and I'd love to get straight into a couple of questions.
Sure.
So firstly, we're talking about digital supply chains of the future and innovation, but what does that have to do with mobile?
Yeah, sure. And thanks for having me, for sure. So right now we have really a convergence of technology and a convergence of opportunities with 5G, IoT, really more and more availability of these devices in rural areas where many of our crops and our products are they begin their life cycle. And so we have an opportunity to capture more data deeper within these supply chains, more and more upstream. And so that often is on a mobile device because it's something that's already familiar, it's already in people's hands, they can use it. We can introduce applications that that we can scan information right at the point of harvest, and then that information follows through the supply chain. And we're doing that now with whole chain for sure.
Excellent. So let's talk a bit more. You talked about capturing data. Why is that so important? Why do we need to be capturing all this data?
Yeah, so it's amazing how little we know about the products we consume. For example, there was a recent study that was done in the US. 20% of consumer seafood in the US is mislabeled.
Wow.
I mean, this is on average. Sometimes it's as high as 80. And so, these are problems that we need to overcome. But even beyond that, there's the almost criminal amount of waste that we have. Half of what we take out of the ocean gets thrown away. And so we've got to be capturing more and more data in order to better understand how can we improve freshness and quality, how can we verify that we're sourcing from a responsible supply chain that is treating their workers fairly, how can we make sure that the carbon footprint is as low as it can be. These are the kind of things that we're wanting to measure, and it starts with a mobile use case, and then it goes throughout, really almost every device thereafter, from desktop to APIs to connecting to enterprise systems. We really feel like that's the vision of whole chain, is to be able to offer this throughout the whole chain.
Fantastic, very powerful. So using a lot of the technologies to help drive sustainability as well.
Yeah.
And where do you see, more generally, we're talking about digital supply chains of the future, where do you see that future? Where do you see it progressing?
Yeah, we see definitely, right now we're in a transition phase of going where a lot of these, particularly in food systems, not so much in other commodities. I mean, think about a food item versus, say, a drug. Something that begins and ends its life with a barcode on it. Well, a fish doesn't, right? And so right now we're just at that transition phase where we are able to start capturing that information from the point of harvest all the way through. That phase, though, will come to maturity. We'll have more and more understanding of traceability as the years go by and as supply chains get more and more used to it, and as, honestly, brands and consumers demand it more and more. Where we see the future heading, though, is all of the ancillary data we can connect with in order to improve quality, like I mentioned earlier, and again, carbon footprint, any of these different social indicators. There's so much that we can better understand about our products and really our businesses and the things that we're relying on, and how we have an impact in the world, not just within our walls of our business, but those who are part of our overall enterprise. How are we responsibly connecting and sourcing our products? We see that as a big thing. And then on the consumer level, we see much more connected experiences.
Great.
You'll have consumers being able to access applications where they can better understand, the freshness of their food and when best to consume it, and what they want to buy based upon more information about that supply chain.
Great. Thank you so much, Jason. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to see any more, Jason has also kindly recorded a short presentation that talks more about these themes and Envisible. Thank you.